Hit it and quit it. Hello everyone, Ryan here, and Classic Week continues with the review of the 1971 album from Funkadelic titled Maggot Brain. Funkadelic were famous for their classic funk sound in the 1970s, and they were fronted by George Clinton, who has seen a lot of influence in the world of funk music, as he was also part of the band Parliament. Without this man, I'm not entirely sure where funk music would have gone in the world of funk, because he was so influential and he produced many albums, including this album as well, Maggot Brain. And he is still to this day all over a lot of music, and has even been part of some hip-hop albums that have used that throwback funk sound, most notably the To Pimp a Butterfly album by Kendrick Lamar. And to me, this sound is so recognizable. Like, I could listen to funk and just want that in every kind of sense of music, because it just has that gripping sound to me. Like, I just instantly get away with all the grooves and the amazing melodies, and that one of the things that started that off for me personally was listening to this album by Funkadelic. Because obviously I'd already heard bands like Sly and the Family Stone and other classics from that funk era, which I do like and appreciate, but none of them ever hit me the way this album by Funkadelic did. Those freaked out vocals, the soaring funky melodies that hit the whole album just continuously, and there's even this rock sound that hits this album as well. Like, it's quite a rocky album in a sense, with that funk edge. And there are even psychedelic sounds across this album too, which were probably taken from the influence of that late 60s psychedelic sound, which had just come off that era, as this was a very early 70s album. And that influence is particularly found in the opening track to this album, the 10-minute opening track, this hazed out, crazy, wallowing song that goes on for so long, but it's such a brave way to intro an album, and it's nothing like the rest of this album, but I absolutely love it. It's a weird track, and it goes in all these different directions. And yeah, I think to start a funk album with a track like this was such a weird thing to do, but it works so well. But of course, we go straight from there into the funk jams like Can You Get to That? I Wanna Know If You Can Get to That. It's an absolute classic song for me. I absolutely think this is one of the greatest songs of the 70s and probably ever. I love this track. The vocals on this song work so well. I love the way the baritone vocals come in as well. I wanna know. I think this is just an absolute gem of a track. And then that goes into Hit It and Quit It, which again is a absolutely perfect funk song, and also was featured in the TV show Atlanta, which seemed to be quite a cult phenomenon, which came out last year, which is a great show. I think everyone should watch. And also, which is another thing that I want to mention in this review, is that the influence of this album still seems to go through today, because the lead actor in that show, Donald Glover, also known as Childish Gambino, released his album last year, Awaken My Love, which has that classic 70s sound, and even the album cover could even be compared to this Maggot Brain album cover too. I just think it's interesting that even today there are artists out there that are using this sound, and I think that shows how much of an impact funk had. And as I said, there is that rock influence on this album that really shines through on the track Super Stupid, which is like an MC5 track. It's got this kind of classic 70s guitar riff on there, which I do find interesting that there were so many influences just on this album. And then this album closes off with Wars of Armageddon, which just has all these different weird sounds across the whole thing, kind of goofy at points, but it goes in, again, like the opening track, goes in so many directions and so many weird turns and twists that it just sounds like incredibly unique in comparison to what else was released at the time, I think. If you've never heard this album, then make sure you give this a listen. It's absolutely fantastic. one of the greatest funk albums I've ever heard, and it's easily an A-star from me. I love this album. It's fairly short as well, so it doesn't exactly take too much of your time to listen to. It's one of the greatest. George Clinton, whatever he ever touched was just magnificence. And yeah, Maggot Brain, an absolute classic. Make sure you give it a listen. Also subscribe if you want to hear more music reviews, and have a good day.